What up, YouTube? Welcome back to our video. This is Grower and the Shower, and we're going to be checking out today's fights.
Make sure you like and subscribe. On to the most upsetting fight I've watched in quite some time.
Was it
Well, actually,
upsetting
not
for
for
you?
me.
You won a lot of money.
Yeah, I was happy. I bet on Pena. Amanda Nunes got defeated by Julianna Pena.
Yes, the UFC Female Goat was decrowned. Not as being the GOAT, but one of her titles. Let's not forget she still holds another belt.
Yeah, she's still a champion.
She's still a champion. You know what I mean? She's just not a 2-belt champion, which isn't crazy, guys. You know what I mean? Everyone's like losing their mind, which it is insane, right? That, I mean, you know, she has a weakness, so whatever. But she's still a champion, and it's not the craziest thing.
I always bet against her is because it doesn't matter how great you think anyone is. Eventually, they're gonna start losing. Every single person. If you're a human, it's like the right now the biggest debate is Khabib, right? Khabib would have started to lose eventually. I'm not saying he would have lost this year, next year, the year after, but if he would have kept fighting, eventually he would have got caught up with, and people would have figured him out. It's inevitable. And Amanda Nunes that way. I think Pena had something to prove. She showed she was very tough. She didn't quit. Because honestly, in that first round, I was like, she is about to get fucked up when the second round comes in.
Mm-hmm.
That showed her grit, man. She came out there, she shot for it, and it paid off.
So breaking some of what we've said down and what happened in the fight, neither one of us thought that Pena was going to be the one to be able to do this, right? Not that we discredit any fighter. Like we said, anyone has a chance of getting clipped, but I thought that's what would take Amanda Nunes down, was a clip, something that would rock her super hard. She'd lose her footing, and then that would just be it. I didn't think that she would get outstruck, outclassed, get so tired where if you really look at the tap out, it was an exhaustion tap out. She didn't even try and fight it. You know what I mean? She was just exhausted. I did not think Amanda Nunes was going to get that tired.
I don't think she got necessarily outclassed. I think what happened, because it was sloppy. And I think
what happened
is Pena baited her into a brawl, which is typically where
she kept
Amanda
pushing
Nunes
forward.
is fine.
Nunes needed to step back.
Yeah, but that's what she got baited into a brawl, and she did get rocked. And I think that straight that caught her, I think it really rocked her for a second. And
she got hit with like 20 of them.
Like, yeah, I'm talking about the first one that really rocked her, because after that's where she was kind of out of it. And then I think she was exhausted and tired. And I think that, again, everybody has to lose. And
I think this was
still the greatest.
I think that was the championship weakness, though, or the champion weakness of, even with Cody, right? Where your ego gets in the way of like, hey, you just took a bad punch. You need to step back and reassess what's happening, other than charging, because that's what would happen every time Nunes got hit with something big. She would push forward, and what would happen as soon as she pushed forward? She would either get hit with a jab or a straight right away, because she was pushing forward, and then they would get into what you're talking, these sloppy, kind of combinations. But who was coming out on top of those? It was Pena. And to give credit to her, I was most impressed with her chin. The punches she was able to take from Nunes, especially when she was going out there trying, and I'm not saying they were precise or whatever, but you've seen people get rocked on the side, the back of the head, and some of those punches were landing there.
Someone with power, like
and she was taking
the first round. Those legs kicks, I mean, they were hard enough.
Yeah, they were nasty.
Threw her leg out from under her as she hit the ground. I mean, they were nasty leg kicks. They had so much power that they tripped her. So, I think that like, I don't know, coming into that second round, I did not see it. I was like, shit, she is about to get demolished, and she pulled it out. Good for her. She's now the champion. I think, I don't
run it back.
I think that Amanda Nunes, if anybody deserves an immediate rematch, if anybody does, it's Amanda Nunes.
No, yeah,
I didn't agree with Wei Lee. I didn't think that should be an immediate rematch. I don't agree with the Moreno rematch, to be honest with you.
The Figure Moreno?
Yeah. I don't think it should have been an immediate rematch. I mean,
I could say
Moreno didn't get an immediate rematch
for sure. I feel like there's nothing else really more exciting in that division right now, so they're just like, forget it. It's one of the least interesting divisions.
But still, I mean, it's not like I don't want to watch it. I'm just saying, if they don't deserve it, I think in this, Amanda deserves. She's been so dominant.
Does she want it? Does she want to keep defending 2 belts where she can sit there Because listen, we need to break some of this down, right? Dana already talked about the Kayla Harrison thing in the presser. If she would have won, they would have set this up. If you go back to if you look at when Nunez lost, go look at Kayla's reaction. She starts yelling like "fuck," but she just knew that her fight's gone, her money fight's gone. You know they were gonna set that up, so you still can at 145 because that's what Kayla's want to fight is gonna want to fight at. So I don't think that she necessarily has to defend this belt. I think for Kayla and Nunez, if they wanted that type of money, Amanda needs both titles for that type of draw. You know, if they're wanting Conor McGregor numbers for them being the main card and thing, I think Amanda needs both belts.
Yeah, I think she'll want it either way. I think she is very prideful, and she's been so great for so long. I think she'll want to get that belt back. I think that it'll give her some motivation
Yeah, I
for
agree.
the most she's had in a long time because I mean, realistically, the fights have been so easy for her. How motivated can you get? So sometimes I think people need a loss, and people are already discounting, like, oh, she's like, see, this is it, she's going down. There's still a lot of great fights to be made for her.
Oh yeah, but
I still think she'd be dominant.
that's why I
She
talk
yeah,
about this.
yeah.
It goes more. You got when we talk about these things, it's not just about what the fighter, but we got to remember it's a business, right? So what are they gonna do as a business? Because it's not even just gonna about. It's not about what's best for the fighter. Let's be real. It's never gonna be about that. It's gonna be about what's best for business and what's gonna sell the most. And yeah, I think a rematch would sell. Don't get me wrong, you know, but I don't think it's necessary for Nunez. Also, I think if she doesn't, I think it'd be a great time for Valentina to try and to move up if she wanted. She was a good 135. You know, she just dropped to 125 just because she wasn't trying to mess with Nunez anymore, and like she can dominate the 125 weight class. And at the same point, Kayla Harrison is a free agent and she needs to be signed. So you're gonna have to sign her, and then who are you gonna put her up against? A nobody coming out as her first fight? You know, you're gonna want to put that on a main card on something. So I don't know. You just kind of got to see what you're gonna do with those fighters, and it's gonna really come down to Amanda.
I think the Amanda Nunes and the Pena fight makes sense because one or two things going to happen. Either Nunes gets that title back, and she asserts like that was a one off. I wasn't going
It
into it
happens.
right. Blah blah
GSP was
blah. It
even
happened.
yeah.
I'm still here. I've made adjustments, whatever. Or she loses, and you see Pena beat her again. That hey, it wasn't a fluke. She is as good as she says that she is. In which case, that sets up a really good fight still between her and whoever else is like a Kayla Harrison or whoever.
No, I agree.
Um, but it's definitely a lot bigger fight to be the Amanda Nunes, the champion holding two titles.
Yeah. No, I agree. For Pena, who do you give her after that? If Amanda doesn't fight for the belt, let's say if she doesn't want it, who would you give it to? Who gave?
Um,
Because we gotta say, Jermaine Randame. I don't know what happened. I didn't look too much into it, but she's off the rankings. Um, I know something happened there. I don't know what happened there, but she's not on the rankings anymore. So the only other person that I can think is Holly Holm.
yeah, I mean Holly Holm would be a great fight, and I would love to see Holly Holm as a champion again.
Dominant boxer, just inducted into the Boxing Hall of Fame. I
Yeah.
think that would also be a great fight for Kayla Harrison.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard. I would love. Yeah, I mean, that would be an amazing fight with Kayla Harrison. I want to see Kayla Harrison fight.
I do too.
I mean, we don't know how she's gonna do.
Yeah,
Is the way.
exactly. She's
Uh,
obviously dominant in what she does. She hasn't been beaten, right?
sure,
So, but let's just see
but
what.
I don't see her beating Amanda Nunes.
Don't get me wrong. Some of these people that have are world class, because she's not just like a boxer, right? It's not like just some boxer coming over and just doing something. She's a world class judo, right? So she's just amazing. Like, and that translates to MMA a little bit more than just boxing does. So, I think she would actually transition better than most people will.
Sure. No, I agree with all that. I think it's kind of open ended there. We gotta wait to see what happens first with
Yeah,
this.
we got to see.
Nunes Pena rematch because that's going to change the landscape of the division drastically.
I agree.
Because then I believe it does get more exciting.
Yeah.
The problem you have with when you have such a dominant champion, it comes like, what do you do? Start lapping everybody.
Which she's
And
done.
yeah, so um, with Pena holding that title, it becomes then more realistic for anybody else to become champion, and then the division gets kind of a jump start. So
No, I agree.
we'll see.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean
excited to
they were kind
see
of just throwing people at Nunez at that point, right? Pena was the last one that kind of felt like she deserved it that hadn't really fought yet. So and then she finally got it. So I think it'll be interesting. Like we said, we'll see what Nunez does, and it's all going to depend on her. But I think in a rematch, if we're just being real, I think she still got it. I think she would win it.
Agreed.